feature.
She knows
Power.
power.
The power.
How's his wife?
Are you recusing yourself? You have to. You just told me it has nothing to do with you. You don't even have the HVAC on this guy.
Well, he said he was gonna vote no, so you.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, you
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, Ed and I have been working for 15, 16 years together.
So I'm not sure about John. You can tell me either way.
We'll give it one more minute.
1 more minute.
Yeah.
Yes.
Call the shots, gentlemen.
Let's get this moving along.
Right.
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 Okay.
But no,
Yeah,
like,
I'll
it's
get
all
Brendan.
you members?
I'll get Brendan in.
Oh, I thought there was no light was on.
No, Randy's recording.
Okay.
He's in it
How
first.
do I do that?
Right,
You want me to go upstairs and check on him?
well, let's see if we raise our hands and say we're done.
Oh. I see a light though.
That works.
He's new. He's never done this.
I've seen
We have a new-
a few times.
You have?
Yeah.
I have not. But let me know if you want me to run upstairs.
I gotta sit down with you and go over it.
Sure. Another minute, yeah, I guess so.
Just tell him if the right means record for him.
But if you give me 24 hours, this is shit. Dennis won't be out.
Yeah, we'll just get a, well, Dennis is, I'm gonna give him that shed, so he knows the potential contingencies.
Did you say that? You need on writing.
You gotta give him a time frame.
Yes, he did, verbally. What do we say about
What
verbals?
you need to do is say, hey, my general contractor really likes that shed.
Move.
Just thinking of putting a vote.
Writing.
Dennis will have it on the weekend for you.
We're on. A red light on,
Alright.
green light.
I think we're good.
Send
Live.
out tomorrow, appreciation.
We just-
Right?
Yeah.
Right before this,
What have you been doing?
I was trying to find my husband.
I can't have the date, but I can do something else.
Said red
You
means
used to go.
red means record.
Yeah, that's what I thought, it's the opposite of what we thought. Yeah, totally.
No.
There we go.
Now we're live.
Yeah, my,
Right, Easton Zoning Board of Appeals. I am Ryan Cook, acting chair. Attorney Steve Merlin, off to the right. Tim McCall and Jeremy Kay. First up on the docket is 19.9. Would you like to read it in, please?
The Easton Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, September 17, 2019 at Easton Town Hall, calling a Corona Boardroom, 136 Elm Street, Northeastern Mass, on the following petition. Variance, Dave Karen, for property located at 65 Belmont Street, Easton, Assessors Map 28U, Lot 40, requesting a variance pursuant to Easton Code Book Chapter 235. Zoning Appendix B, dimensional and density regulations. Applicant seeks relief from dimensional requirements to allow the construction of a garage on the premises. This notice was also available on masspublicnotices.org. I'm going to read the comments from the other boards.
Good evening.
I'm just going to read you some comments.
Sorry.
Planning Board, Planning and Zoning Board reviewed variance, voted to recommend the application with suggestion that the applicant install a fence along the rear property line. Environmental planner, not applicable. Board of Health, not applicable. Police Department recommends. Historical Commission, not applicable. Affordable Housing, not applicable. Nothing from the fire department, so that's
All right, petitioner, would you like to?
Thank
Well,
you.
first I gotta let you know, we only have 4, so for it to get approved, you have to get all 4. You have the option to push it off into the next meeting.
We're good.
Okay.
Come on up. Come on, have a seat. This is my team. This is Jim Hull. She's the owner of Signs by Tomorrow.
You have to grab that microphone.
All right.
Mine.
So, what we're trying to do is we have an existing situation which is here where we've got this temporary structure. Jim's been trying to do car wraps. And the temporary structure is actually too small to be able to pull a vehicle in it, warm it up while you're doing the wrap in order to be competitive and successful. So our proposal is to be able to install this building, which would be 32 by 18 structural building, permanent structure, that would allow him then to be able to pull vehicles in and be able to do wraps and that type of signage. Jim, did you want to talk to the board a little bit about that operation?
Sure, if you don't mind. So,
Can you please just state your name and your address?
Jim Halleck, 65 Belmont Street. Signs by Tomorrow. We also own the building there too. So as Dave was saying, the wraps themselves or the vehicle lettering is literally about 40% of our business. And that is continuing to grow, and the complexity of the vehicle lettering in this market, it's forcing us to have better conditions, not doing them out in the elements outside. Currently, right now, we have to drive the vehicles down to Bridgewater, to a contractor's bay that I have down there. And as we're doing more and more of this, that is becoming very prohibitive. Driving down there, the time involved, the insurance involved, all those things that are involved. We have been making a considerable investment in the current building, which you may have seen a lot of stuff going on there, and we're really trying to improve this property. Primarily for the sake, just so that you folks know, we're in this for the long haul. We like what we do, we like where we are, we like being in this town, and even my two daughters have taken a liking to the business and will probably continue on with this. So we are trying to set this up for the next generation to take this business where it needs to go. Without this building, we cannot do that. Flat out, we just cannot grow. We cannot get the property to a place where we like it. I personally don't like that temporary shed there. It's ugly to me. And I have shared that with the neighbors as far as what we're trying to do here, and not only improve the property, but help the business survive.
So our structure, our permanent structure, as in your petition, will go right here. Our issue is obviously because of the size of it, we're right on our edges. We can't meet the required setbacks, and we're coming to you for support on this because we've got no place else to turn. The building itself is simple wooden structure with foundation, etc., supports. It's going to have a metal siding, red, to match the existing structure or the existing building, so that it's not going to create an obvious distraction or what is that thing that's there. It's going to be red, the same color as the building that's already there, and we were trying to do it in a way that was tasteful to everybody that's going to be dealing with it. And unless you had any other questions, that's our presentation.
Mr. Merlin.
So what abuts the rear line? What's behind you there?
Behind us is there's actually a large field which belongs to a property that has apartments. There's an apartment complex behind there.
Is that the Belmont Apartments? Belmont Arms?
It's Belmont Arms. I actually have been speaking to Chris for the last 2 years about this, and just spoke with him yesterday, just to make sure that he understood and he was on board with this. He abuts to basically the back of the property and the right of the property.
How far is the building, the Belmont Arms from your rear line?
Those buildings are actually way back here, and the other one is way back here.
Way back, meaning, what, 200 feet, 300 feet?
Yeah.
Probably at least a football field.
Yeah, at least 300.
And how many vehicles can you get in the new building? Yeah.
One at a time.
Just still one at a time,
Mhm.
at that size? Okay.
I see on the plan, it's indicated you're gonna remove another structure as part of this project?
Yes, there's, in behind this building is a small shed type of thing. And in order to not have so many buildings on the site, we agreed that we'd take that one out.
And so you're moving pretty much, this will be big enough to do what you need to do?
No, that shed that's back there does all of the dirty cutting. Quite honestly, we're gonna have to find some other means to do that, because the building we wanna build, the garage, we want that to be actually a clean environment. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out a way how to do that.
Okay, and the planning board had suggested erecting a fence maybe to help screen the property. Would you be open to that? It was just a suggestion.
The only reason that I wouldn't want to put a full stockade fence there or something is when it comes to us plowing and the other property owners just mowing the lawn, it's going to be more difficult for that. I take that under advisement from you folks.
Sorry.
Any other questions?
Okay.
The other comment I'd like to make on that is the way existing, when you drive by, you can actually look out into that lawn, and it's actually fairly attractive to me when I'm driving by. So I would think that a fence would just prohibit that view.
I was just gonna ask, why does it need to be so large, 18 by 32?
So a lot of the vehicles that we're doing, especially like the newer vehicles, like these Sprinter vans, the high height ones, the high roofs, we do a lot of trailers, box trucks. We obviously aren't going to be able to get in a 28-foot moving truck, but the vehicles, this was actually spec'd out so that we could do probably 80% of the vehicles that we're actually lettering, that we could actually get them in there.
And does it need to also be all the way in that back corner of the lot?
We specifically wanted to push it back as far as we could so that when delivery trucks come in, it would be easy for them to pull in and pull out. I didn't want to be basically in their way or have them in a predicament that they're going to run into the building.
And what did you say was to the east of it? On the right-hand side?
On the right-hand side is the apartment complex.
So the apartment complex owns all of this property and all of this property.
Got it.
But there's bushes on the right of that.
Yeah, there is a row of very ugly shrubs over here, which we plan on removing. We actually kept those there just so that the general public didn't have to see some of the mess that was there or some of the things that were going on back there. But obviously that stuff would all get cleaned out.
Would you put bushes in the back instead of the fence?
I would be perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, like arborvitaes or something. Yeah.
I don't know anything about bushes, but I know people use
Those tall
as
ones.
fences,
Yeah.
yeah.
The tall ones.
How long has the temporary structure been there?
The temporary structure's been there about 4 years.
Did you need a variance for that? Oh, you,
The tent that we put up that garage, No, to be honest with you, we didn't think we needed it. It was just like putting up a temporary structure. I mean, it's a tarp kind of.
A canopy?
Yeah.
You stole my thunder. My one question with the answer. Anything from the public? All right, any other? All right,
Will we close the hearing?
all right.
Seconded.
All right, so, Mr. Merlin and Mr. McCall, second. All those in favor of closing?
In favor.
4-0, so we'll try to deliberate after the next one.
Okay,
All ready?
thank you.
Feel free to hang out if you'd like.
Okay.
Probably should have deliberated now, because they have to leave.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Deliberate now.
Right now, you guys.
Okay. Well, only because Mike and Ed would have to leave.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Not that makes a difference.
Do you want to invite them to come back in? Well,
No, you can go ahead.
Just yell out to them, tell them we're gonna vote now. Yeah, no, Suzanne will get it.
Actually, we decided we're gonna do it right now.
You're gonna vote now?
Yeah, we're gonna put that in. That's a good idea.
Well, subject to putting some shrubbery in the back lot line, I say we approve. I'm not sure what that means, but how high they have to be or something, but instead of a fence, maybe.
Well, so we can assume a fence would be at least 6 foot tall, so it's
Right.
vegetation at least 6 foot in height.
Fine by me.
Yeah, I don't know, I'm not an arborist.
Seems reasonable.
Well, we can just say it as you know, because they were requesting some sort of fencing as a
It
screen.
was a
to some-
suggestion on the thing,
Right.
it wasn't a requirement. So.
Right.
Yeah,
May I speak?
hearing's closed.
Here it's closed.
Okay, sorry.
so I also think I think the suggestion was that the fencing would be on the rear. I'm not sure it said on the,
I just said on the rear, I
on the
believe.
east side, on the east side.
Yeah, it's not a requirement, it's
Did,
just.
did they mean the rear behind the new structure or rear all the way across the 100 feet?
I just understood the.
No, didn't say anything, it just said the applicant install a fence along the rear property line, so I assumed they meant across to kind
Whole
of give it
thing.
some space between the field. So I mean, I would think that
Is it-
shrubbery.
but how is it worded?
Property line, that meant the whole
rear
line.
Property line, I believe. Recommended the application with the suggestion that the applicant install a fence along the rear property
Who
line.
made that comment?
That was the planning board, so I guess Mr. Strange.
Okay.
And I understand the rear to mean the south side of it.
Right, behind where he's putting the new garage.
Right, well, as opposed to the east side of it.
No, they were just
Just at the
saying
rear
they
of the
had-
property.
They had shrubs already there, and they might clean those up, but I don't think that's really.
Right, so, did you want to change?
Give me some wording, guys, give me some help here.
Yeah.
I mean, put arborvitae or equivalent along the back.
Just say shrubs, because I don't know what
Well,
any of them are.
Shrubs that'll grow to
Shrubs,
6
you
feet.
can have shrubs that are 6 inches high and.
Well, I
some
mean,
that
you
are
could say like, the 6 foot.
Arborvitae or equivalent.
Shrubs, yeah,
Yeah,
sounds good.
okay. All right, so,
I'm in favor of that, yeah.
all right, with a second. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor? That's 4-0. All right, so
Signatures
Suzanne,
coming around.
Put that all together, and then how long before they can pick that up from?
It takes a few weeks to write the decision, then it's filed, and there's a 20-day appeal period. So you can be in touch.
Okay, thank you so much. Very good. Thank you all.
Okay. You're welcome.
So you made the motion, it's been seconded.
Yeah. I don't know what motion I made, but I made.
No, that was mine, I bring, yeah,
Addition amendments to the plan.
mine's multicolored.
Come on back.
Yeah.
Is the board a suggestion or
Condition.
That was conditioned for approval that they.
Yeah, condition, yeah, no suggestion.
That was good.
Do you want me to date it?
Everything going okay?
Well.
Yeah, we did so well without you, you can stay in back if you want.
I was thinking of that.
No, this is a modification. I read through the whole thing as well now. I was supposed to do both.
No, the most recent comments, because the other ones were not in the record.
Yep.
I guess my work here as well.
Of course, thank you. We gave it the date file.
Pretty easy.
Okay, that's why I didn't do it.
That's what I wasn't,
I don't.
wasn't sure was gonna happen
You
or
told
not
me that once
happen, so
before.
better safe than sorry.
Yeah,
We beat them all.
This is the business portion of our meeting, so the first thing on the agenda is to review the requested revisions to the plans for Eastondale Cottages and determine whether or not we want to approve it as a minor modification. You want to introduce yourself and proceed?
All right. Hello, my name is Damian Dimitrick with Conoco Engineers and Scientists at 4 First Street in Bridgewater, Massachusetts, here on behalf of Eastondale LLC to present the minor modification to the previously or the approved Eastondale site. Just running you guys through the modifications real quick. I supplied the 11 by 17s showing the highlighted modifications in red. So we'll just start with the first page. On the front, you can see that there's the, in red, that swale along the front there. That was added in due to grading concerns. All of these are just modifications due to construction issues that just came up, things that were kind of just want to be slightly modified to help the site out. So yeah, that first site, it was previously, there was a steep cut along the side or a fill section with a steep slope to kind of mitigate the grading there, allow for some better, safer traffic flows and stuff like that, so you don't have a big steep slope off the side with a big cut swale. We just flattened it out, made the swale a little less deep, and then added some drainage structures to then tie into the drainage system that, reaches back, and everything here still meets all of DEP's requirements, has been reviewed by the review engineer, and has all the same drainage features. So that's the first page. Flipping to the next page. I'll start with the bottom of the page, the added retaining wall. Previously there, again, it was just a very steep cut, fill slope that would be, basically going right up against the back of the units, just to allow for better pedestrian access and so, some cleaner grading, just a smoother, safer condition. The retaining wall was added so that was a flatter area coming off of the pavement there. And then in the center, you can see the stormwater drainage chambers, or the tanks. Those were just modified for utility concerns, just, the guys putting the utilities in, stuff's tight there, and then additionally, elevation-wise, allow for just some better grading conditions. The tanks were flattened, but more tanks were added. So those, just to allow for better grading to get flows to the catch basin shown in the center there. And then on the third page, the modifications shown there are to the unit layouts. The unit 16 and 15 at the top are of the two garages. Previously, those garages and the units were pushed closer together. Eversource came in. They wanted to put a transformer there. And additionally, just separating the units kind of gives the homeowner just a little bit, they have their own separate garage. They're not abutted up next to their neighbor. And then units 19 and 24 were previously not rotated. Were kind of rotated in parallel with the units like 20 and 25. So instead of, we rotated them just for better access so that they weren't staring at their neighbor's, bathroom as they were sitting on their front deck. Just some modifications, easy there, but again, everything still ties into the drainage the same way. These are just minor modifications to help some issues that kind of came up during the construction. And then the last page is just a highlight of the change of the structure, the detail for those storage tanks in the back. So if you have any questions.
Steve, any questions?
No.
Ryan?
No.
Ed?
No.
Sorry, I don't have any either. Jeremy, you got anything you want to add? Okay.
Will we close the hearing?
Well,
You
Go
know,
ahead.
it's two votes, you saw.
what's that?
You have to take two votes on this.
On
One of whether it's.
one, whether or not it's a minor
Yeah.
modification, and then, yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
So, move we close the hearing.
Close the hearing, made by Mr. Merlin, seconded by Mr. Cook, all in favor? 5-0.
Move we consider it a minor modification.
Motion made by Mr. Merlin, seconded by Mr. Cook, all in favor?
Move we approve.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Merlin to approve, seconded by Mr. Cook, all in favor? 5-0. Have a good night.
Thank you guys. You too.
Signatures.
One,
Who
before,
was sitting? There wasn't really a hearing. but who
it's
was
not really hitting. Put Ed on, I guess, because he raised his hand and Jeremy didn't.
I was assuming that I was the alternate.
Okay,
That's fine.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Minutes.
Yes. Minutes, August 20th. Anybody have changes, questions, issues?
Move we approve.
Motion to approve by Mr. Merlin, seconded by Mr. McCall. All in favor? Motion to adjourn, someone?
So made.
Mr. Cook, seconded by Mr. Merlin. All in favor? Everybody? 5-0.